Today, on Be Something Wonderful, it is the single most powerful reality shifting technique ever. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Big video this morning. This is from a new client. We met yesterday, our first session of 3 initial sessions together. And what he wanted to talk about is changing his life. This is what he says. He goes, Tom, I want to change my life. I want to change my past, but I don't know where to start. At the same time, I don't want to have to start over. So these are things. He believes that there's a better life out there. And remember, you're living all lives. That's what desire is. Desire is those bleed-throughs, those spillovers from other realities, other lives that you're living right now, other things that you desire to do or have or be, that there's a version of you living right now. So I wanted to kind of talk about some of the powerful concepts that we talked about in our first session together yesterday. All the power, all the potential, in other words, all lives, past, present, and future, are within you right now. It's this present moment where all those lives are. You're changing your life and lives and identity, who you are, in every moment, in every frame of reality. And every frame of reality is new. It's untouched. Right there, you give it movement, you give it life, you give it experience, right? You are changing, or in other words, revising your past in every moment right now. So it's not even about going in. You could do revision, Neville Goddard's revision, but really this is next level. This is the ultimate revision from the now moment, telling the story of how you would like things to be. When you tell the story about how you would like things to be right now, this moves you. Changes your identity. You become a new identity. When you become a new identity, you have a new reality. Not only a new reality in the present, but it changes the past because there's a different past you to create this new you who you are in the present, right? They're not linked, right? The past is never linked unless you make those links, unless you thread those together, and you get to do that, right? You are repeating and recreating your past, present, and future frame in every moment right now, right? You don't have to start over. You're always starting over. Whether you like it or not, you're starting over. There's a new frame every moment. It's a clean slate, a new frame of reality. Let's hit this like we never have before. Remember, you don't have to create reality. It's already created. As Neville Goddard says, creation is finished. We're going to talk about that idea, right? That it's finished, but at the same time, it is expanding. It's infinity. But what's really expanding? What's expanding is the infinite experiences of that creation, of that reality, of those frames, because all frames exist, right? You don't have to learn how to shift. You're always shifting. So you don't have to create reality. It's already created. Creation's finished. You don't have to learn how to shift. You're always shifting. That's what consciousness does. Consciousness moves. Awareness moves. Awareness is always aware of something. Consciousness is always conscious of something. So you don't have to shift, you're always shifting. You don't have to raise your vibration to match that of Source or God. You are Source or God. That's your nature. Your core vibration, as Bashar says, is love. It's unconditional love. It's Source energy. That's your core vibration. You don't have to raise it. You just got to stop covering it up. You got to stop blocking it with your fear and your doubt and throwing all these obstacles on the path of least resistance on your path. It's all there. You just need to stop telling the story of whom you are not. We're always telling a story, but what's the story you're telling? Right? You talked yourself into this life, this moment right now, this whole life experience. What's the story you're telling? Hold on to nothing. That's what Course in Miracles says, meaning hold on to nothing but that I am. And it's what Neville Goddard talks about in The Pearl of Great Price. Buy the pearl. Give up every other belief in an outside power. But don't give up him. In other words, don't give up him, that great Christ within you, that I am. That's your power. You don't have to wish your past were different. It is. What's more, you have infinite past lives. And what's more, those lives are going on right now. And what's more, they're not even past. They're all happening right now. That's powerful. You don't have to wish anything is different. It is different in every moment. But to you, it looks the same. You keep creating the same solidity, the same. You're threading the same frames. You're telling the same story. So it looks the same to you, but it's always different in every moment. That's powerful. Let's hit it. There are an infinite number of potential realities or frames that exist all at once, right now, simultaneously. The frames are still frames, still or frozen frames. And each frame has no movement or meaning in and of itself. You give that frame meaning and movement. That's how you create the story, your consciousness, your awareness moving over those frames at lightning speed, right? You as consciousness give the meaning. The potential parallel alternative realities are created by the focus of consciousness, of your consciousness, shifting through different parallel realities or frames, right? Billions of times a second, right? The organization of the frames create parallel realities of timelines, right? This movement of consciousness over and through frames at lightning speed, right? At billions of times a second creates the experience of linear time or stories of parallel realities, infinite number, all overlapping and all existing at once, all bleeding through and overlapping one with the other. They all exist right now. That's you. That's what you do. You are awareness. You are consciousness. You're always shifting. You're always moving through frames. The question is, what are you choosing to move through? Creation's finished. It's all there. But what frames, what experience are you choosing? How do you choose? By telling a story of who you would like to be right now, knowing that it's true within, knowing that all those lives exist. Let's hit this a little bit more. Shifting realities or constant movement is what consciousness or awareness does. It's always conscious or aware of something. You're always conscious or aware of something. Change or shifting movement in the changeless reality. That's what we mean by time. It's that change in the changeless reality. That's what creates time. That movement over those frames creates that experience of the linear time. It's just an experience. It's not real. It's not reality. Reality is your awareness or consciousness, right? Reality is that who you are. But as you move over these frames, as you move over that, you create this idea of time, right? Reality, God never changes. That isness of reality is, was, and will always be. Before Abraham, I am. But the infinite number of ways consciousness can experience creation always changes. It always evolves and it always expands. That's what we mean by creation is finished, but it's always expanding at the same time. It's that consciousness that's always expanding, that experience of creation. All frames exist, all possibilities exist, and new ones are being created at the same time. That's what infinity is. It's always expanding. But in any one moment, it all exists, and your consciousness is moving over it, right? That's why it's called infinity. Creation's finished, but the experience of it is ever expanding. You can experience it in any number of infinite ways. That's why we're here. To have that, to know what we know experientially. To experience that creation that's finished and always expanding experientially, right? And Bashar talks about it like a movie projector. I've used the idea of a movie analogy in many different ways. But today we're going to just talk about it that your consciousness is the movie projector, is the light, right? And you create as you move over these frames that have no experiences, no movement. They're meaningless without you. As you move over them, you create meaning. You create the movement of these frames fast, like lightning speed, that creates the solidity of reality, that creates the time and the space and everything else. You see it? You create the time, the space, and the change. You create it all as you move over these frames of reality. You create this projection that we call the 3D world, the 3D reality. Right? Bashar, this is what Bashar says. Like your movie projector, just as we show here. Right here. Right? Like your movie projector is your consciousness focusing through different frames on a so-called film strip of reality. right? And as you remember, creation's finished. All those film strips exist. All those frames exist, right? And as your consciousness, you focus different frames, so strip of reality. As you illuminate frame by frame by frame by frame, you create this illusion, this projection of time, space, and movement and change, of time, space, movement, and change. You create the space, the projector, the screen. You create the screen. Each and every frame has no movement in and of itself, no experience in and of itself. So you have to create the idea of continuity, one frame after another, in linear terms to create this idea, this projection, this holographic structure you call physical reality, space-time. Wow! It's your consciousness moving over those frames, moving over creation that's already finished. All exists in potential. That's what we mean. It exists in potential, that none of those frames have an experience or meaning or movement until you move over it, until your consciousness moves over it. That they all exist in potential. That's what it means. That's what infinity means. That's what all that power, all that potential means. That's powerful. So let's continue. Remember, you don't have to raise your vibration. The other point I was making to him, your core vibration is absolute love and joy of source. Bashar talks about this as well. He talks about it in terms of core vibration. You are source. You experience this love or this core vibration at different rates of change or frequency, right? To experience an infinite variety of potential realities. That's all those different forms are. They're different frequencies or different vibrations. Right? And you as consciousness determine how you're going to experience it, determine how you're going to move over that. You're already the core vibration. You get to decide how that's going to play out, how you're going to see reality. The love or the core frequency of vibration never changes. It doesn't change, but your focus does. Do you see it? Your core vibration never changes, but what you're focusing on does. And that gives you a different experience, frequency, different experience of reality, right? And remember, this is why in Scripture it says we love him because he first loved us. Which 1 John 4:19. In other words, it's unconditional love. You are made of that unconditional love. That never changes, right? He first loved us because we are love and you are love and he is love. Everything is just a story of change in that changeless love. A story of change and that changeless love. It's perfect unconditional love or source or God I am. That's why there's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. That's why in 1 John 4:18 it says that. There's no fear, there's no doubt, there's no imperfection. When we introduce that, that's what gives us that experience of reality. But the reality is it's all love. How are you experiencing that one love? That's the question today. Each frame of reality is new in every moment without movement or experience. It has no meaning, or that's why Bashar always says that you give 3D conditions, 3D reality, all the meaning that it has. It doesn't matter what's happening around you, what has happened around you, or what will happen around you, you give it the meaning. There's no meaning without you. There's no meaning without your consciousness. You determine the story right now, in the now moment, past, present, and future. When you tell a new story from the present moment, you change all identities. You change all time. You change all realities. You change all of who you are. That's powerful. By choosing who you are in the present right now, this changes the past or the frames or the parallel reality. Because to become that person of who you are right now, there had to be a different past, a different string of frames, a different story. And so you create that new story. It's more powerful, even more powerful than revision. You do it from the present moment, from the present you, right? Because when you change or choose who you are now, you have a different past to create that person that you now assume, claim, and imagine yourself to be. Hear this, I'm going to repeat this. Remember, this changes the past or parallel frames because when you change or choose who you are right now, in other words, when you tell a different story of who you are right now, you have a different past to create that person you now assume, claim, and imagine yourself to be. It all comes from that's what the imaginal act is for. That's what assumptions are for. That's what scripting is for. To create that new you right now that changes all of you. Right? Because now you have a different past to create that person that you now assume and you claim and imagine yourself to be. But it all happens now from the present moment. It all exists now. That's what next level or ultimate revision. That's next level or ultimate revision. I've called it next level Neville in previous videos. That's what makes the Mandela effect possible. Right? The idea that people remember different pasts, they remember different groups of people, remember things differently. Right? We have different pasts, but we share a common present. Right? You're remembering a different past. So some groups are remembering a different past, others are remembering it differently. That means that, but both of those groups have a common present that they're sharing. All of those groups. That's what the Mandela effect is. Right? Tons of people, millions and millions of people remembering something different, but they share a common present. Right, from those others that don't remember that they remember it differently. We'll talk more about that. Someone had a question on Mandela effect, and he did too, so I wanted to cover that. Remember, here you are in the vertical. All possibilities exist in this I am vertical, but you're having a horizontal experience. And from that current frame, you believe the story you're telling, that's who you believe you are. You're telling the story of who you are, and you believe that it's the story of who you were as well, that this is your reality. Even as you try to create or want to create a new future, you're still telling that story of who you are. So all your power now is to imagine that new future. Imagine that new you, but imagine it from the now moment. Create it now. Become that new person now. Tell the new story from that place of absolute truth within that I am. That creates that new future frame. That lights up that future. Remember, all frames, past frames of reality, current frames of reality, future frames, these lifelines or film rolls or film strips are all being created right now as your consciousness moves over them. But the past and the present you and story seems real and solid to you. But as you tell the new story of the new identity, who do you say I am? You change all identities. Do you see it? All identities change into that new story, into that new you. That means the past you is now has a past that relates to that new you you're creating right now. And that future you is that you that you're creating right now. It's all you. This is the most astonishingly powerful reality shifting technique ever because it does change your story. It does change who you are in the now moment. Look at that. It changes past, present, and future. That's why telling a story from a place of truth within, this is what we really got at. We started working on his story, right? Changing that story. A lot of people go, how do I change my story? Imagine it differently. Light up a frame. See that end, right? Create an outcome. A one single frame, a desired outcome that implies that you are new in this moment. Look at that future. Create that future frame that implies you're a new identity because it doesn't change it in the future. It changes it right now. If it is that you want a successful business, see that. See yourself celebrating with friends that success right now. That changes you to that identity right now. But it not only changes that present you, it changes the past you. It implies that there was a different past you to create this present you and this future you. It changes all time. So that's why you're going to, as you really step into that new story, as you believe that there is no continuity, there is no solidity unless you say so. You create this new identity. As you create this new identity, you start seeing these synchronicities. You start seeing these coincidences. You start seeing this reality changing around you. But whether you do or don't, doesn't matter. Stay in that new identity. It must change, but stop looking out there like you're the old identity. That's what he was doing over and over again, looking out to see what's changed. Every time you look out what's changed, you're no longer lighting this up. You're lighting that old past identity up. Do you see it? As you look and you wait for something to change. You look to see if something's changed. Okay, Tom, I'm in my new identity. I am that new person now. Where's my stuff? Where's the new me? Where's my new life? As you do that, you just continue to perpetuate that old reality. But it's never the same reality. It's always a new one, but it looks like the one that you're living now. It's always similar. Because remember, you're always shifting realities. You're always changing timelines. Instead, stay in that new identity. Keep telling that story no matter what's going on around you. It will change. It will, but it doesn't matter. You're that new identity. That's the payoff. That's the wish. You're there now. Right? And so as you do change that past identity is now different. That past lifeline is different. The future's different. You're on a new lifeline. You're in a new film role. You're in a new life. That really is the most astonishingly powerful reality creating or shifting or bending technique ever. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for joining our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. Thanks for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, and also our membership channel. We just released a powerful video yesterday. You can check it out. It was just released on the membership channel. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. If you're not a member, if you're a member of the membership channel, thank you for joining. If you're not, check it out. We also have a live stream in 2 weeks from yesterday. September 24th, 2023. We're going to go live here from Las Vegas, another live event on the membership channel. It's the 5th one on the membership channel, the 6th live event. And be sure to join us if you haven't. Check it out. It's going to be available. If you're not going to be available for the live event, it's also going to be available on the membership channel to view after. Creators, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude. This is Tom with Be Something Wonderful in the studios in Las Vegas. Talk to you soon.